Hello, race fans. Peter Mackay here, welcoming you to the Apex Racing Academy GT4 VRS Super Series, live here from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in Lexington, Ohio. Joining me in the commentary box today is none other than Apex Racing Team Principal, Alex Simpson. Alex, how are you feeling this evening?
Right, let me try that again. Helps if I turn my microphone on. Hello, everybody. I've just got so used to just doing the broadcasting at this point, you see, keeping my mic muted so no one can hear my dulcet tones. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Should be good. Like I said just a moment ago, I normally sit there in the background all quiet, keep an eye on these GT4 races. But yeah, back to my old school with doing a bit of commentary. So yeah, this should be good.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Today we are here in Mid-Ohio, which of course welcomed the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship on Sunday, my favourite series in the world, apart from this one, of course, and favourite real world series, let's give it that. And they came here for a dramatic race on Sunday afternoon. But today we have two races here in the Apex Racing Academy GT4 series. One sprint race and one feature race. So it should be very exciting indeed. And of course, don't forget in the feature, we have a mandatory pit stop for our drivers as well. At the moment, the drivers are out in the middle of qualifying, trying to set the best possible lap time they can. At the moment, it's the Norwegian Thomas Wangen on pole position as it currently stands. But as you can see there on the top left-hand side of your screen, Joel Evans has just put in a quick lap time, and so has Roger Christiansen. So at the moment, it's a Team Vikings 1-2 at the top. And, well, business as usual. It's a Porsche 1-2-3-4 with Matthias Beer still holding up the honour for Munich in his BMW M4. If you're new to the Apex Racing Academy GT4 series, first of all, welcome. We hope you enjoy the broadcast this evening. Here we use the two different vehicles in the GT4 class, the Porsche Cayman 718 GT4, a wonderful mid-engined, naturally aspirated machine. And we also have the BMW M4, the big front-engine twin turbocharged monster. Interestingly, the BMW has a little bit more legs down the straight, but the Porsche quite a bit more maneuverable in the corners. And here at Mid-Ohio, it's very much a story of two halves. We have one very long back straight, and then the back part of the circuit is incredibly twisty. So the big long straight, that's BMW country, and the back part of the circuit, well, that's Porsche country. But Alex, you've got a lot of experience in the sim racing world. What's the trick to getting a quick lap here around Mid Ohio?
Yeah, I think Mid Ohio, there's a couple of tricky sections, obviously. I think don't overdrive this circuit is the first thing. It's really easy in those big braking zones to try and brake really, really late, and the minute you miss your apexes, you find that you're just offline for the whole next sector. You're just constantly chasing your line, and you're just losing time hand over fist. So really, it's all about making sure you absolutely nail your braking points so that you can just flow through the sort of undulating sections of this circuit and yeah, get the best kind of lap times. Obviously, coming out of the hairpin, going down that back straight is going to be your key kind of overtaking spot, so that's super important to get absolutely bang on as well, because it's really tricky to overtake here as well. So focus on exits. You're going to defend your position well, but also you can attack if there's any mistakes ahead.
So that's our drivers completed qualifying. At the moment, Thomas Wangen sitting on pole position alongside his teammate Roger Christiansen. So let's get a look at how they're going to roll off for this opening race here at Mid-Ohio. The two Team Vikings teammates, Thomas Wangen and Roger Christiansen, start from the front row, closely followed by Joel Evans and Patrick Sokolowski. Matthias Beer is the first of the BMWs in fifth place, and Mike Pollard will roll off from sixth. Will Newell and Chris Rear start on the fourth row before the first of our AM class runners, Pontus Overstrom, on pole position in the AM class, very closely followed by the Scotsman Mark Heron. In 11th place is the BMW of Jeff Miner, alongside Mikhail Velikov, who currently sits in 2nd place in the AM Class Championship. Jose Malbran will start from 13th, alongside Jorge Villegas. Erin Gibson will begin in the 15th position, alongside Greg Hubler in 16th. And is that us? So we have 16 runners here today at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Our drivers are just lining up behind the Porsche 911 pace car here on iRacing.com. Now, these little GT4 machines, the perfect car actually for this quite tight and twisty Mid-Ohio circuit. And as you can see, the Porsche is dominating so far the top 4 positions. And could you believe, Alex, that you've spare a thought for poor old Mark Donoghue, who pedalled around the Porsche 91730 with no less than 1,100 horsepower to Can-Am victory? Can you imagine that around here?
No, not at all.
I'd rather not.
It would be absolutely deadly, I think. Yeah, these GT4s not quite the same sort of snappiness that's going to have, but nonetheless, I think we still may see the odd little mistake here as well. Just the nature of the course with the way it undulates and the circuit drops away from you. You know, you can get light pretty quickly, but here we go.
Green then, here at Mid-Ohio Sports. Oh, immediately, Joel Evans bangs into one of the Team Vikings cars, and that's Christensen, and then he bangs into, I think that's Mark Herron in the BMW. Oh, what a disastrous start for Team Vikings, and Sokolowski's off on the grass as well. Oh my word. Well, Joel Evans, he's got his elbows out there, and no politeness at all. Barges Christensen off the circuit before they've even got over the start-finish line.
Yeah, Christensen was napping, I think, at the start, and that's kind of what perhaps got him exposed to that there. And yeah, like you say, Evans, just that little side contact there, and he just went flying. So I don't know if he made contact with the wall. The car looks okay, so I think he's got away with that one. And I think actually Mark Herron, he did just scuff the inside wall there as well. But the BMW, as we know, that's made of hardy stuff, so I think they're going to be okay.
Yeah, that BMW is a Bavarian brute. It'll be fine. But yeah, Mark Herron definitely has taken damage, although he has still, by some form of miracle, still managed to hold the AM Class lead. He's in 7th overall right now, and he has Christensen behind him in the Porsche. Well, these Team Vikings guys, they've been biffed and bashed about quite a few times in this series. We saw at Oran Park last week. They actually collided with one another. So let's hope there's none of that this time around. So Thomas Wangen leads from pole position, but he has got the ominous Joel Evans behind him. And Matthias Beer's off, and wow, that's just about hangs on to that tank slapper, but not quite. Well, for the German Austin Powers, that was not very groovy at all. But that would have been a big old tank slapper in the sim for him, Alex.
I mean, I beg to differ. I think that was totally groovy, to be honest. But yeah, looked awesome. And yeah, held on to it well, to be fair. Kept it pointing in the right direction. I mean, he has dropped to basically the back of the pack, but he's still in there and didn't make any contact with anyone. So yeah, good car control to bring it back. But yeah, just shows absolutely full on push these first couple of laps. And I appreciate that they've got to do that in the BMW as well. They've got to attack these first 2 or 3 laps, because that's where, you know, they burn out the tyres, don't they, a lot quicker. I think that's generally what people are saying. It's closer than it was, but yeah, to some extent they've got to get their moves done a little bit earlier on these Porsches and try and hold them up, and you can do it around this place. So, but yep, Herron now is the top BMW in 6th place, so these 3 scampering away. We've seen them in all the other races previously. Just disappear a little bit, and Wangen again, well, fastest lap until Sokolowski just pips it in there, half a second quicker. Where was that lap time from?
That is boogieing along for Patrick Sokolowski. Of course, he did so well at Montreal in the opening round. He was leading the opening race by a postcode. And unfortunately, his internet cut out on the last lap. It was absolutely devastating to watch, and can't imagine what it was like for him. But he went and came from the back of the pack, and of course won the feature race at Montreal. And he's looking very much in vibrant mood today. He moves out of the slipstream of Joel Evans, goes to the outside line. Then now this is clever, because if he gets the outside line here, that gives him the inside for the next left-hander, and it looks like he's going to get this move done on Joel Evans. He has. Great move there from Patrick Sokolowski. Is Joel Evans going to have another look? No, he decides to tuck back. Oh, you make a great point there, Alex, about the BMWs. You know, the BMWs makes all its lap time on the straight, but here at Mid-Ohio, in order for the Porsches to deploy their full pace, they need clean air around this twistier section. But I've actually had a ride in one of the road car BMW M4s, and as you can imagine, the track temperature of the public highway, shall we say, in Scotland is not very high. And that car, with its quite brutal twin turbocharged power delivery, it can be a bit of a handful, to say the least. Of course, the Porsche, that being naturally aspirated, got a little bit more linear, a little bit wider power band. So, yeah, I wonder if that's got something to do with the tyre wear that they're experiencing.
Yeah, maybe. Like you say, just all the power going through the rear wheels just making huge difference there. I think I do remember my BMW back in the day in the winter, and having some fun with it, shall we say. It's easy to, yeah, they just seem to go through rears like crazy. So I think it's very similar with what they're experiencing out there.
So let's see. So at the moment, Thomas Wangen, he is doing a great job to hold off Patrick Sokolowski, who's clearly in the mood for it tonight. But Mihail Velikov, he's got past not only Herren, but Christiansen as well. So Mihail Velikov, and we know he is not shy of a bit of a punch-up or two in the action here. And Mihail Velikov has really come on strong since the Charlotte Roval. He's now only 4 points behind championship leader Marco Tolman, who I have not seen on the timing screen. So this could change everything at the top of the championship in the AM class.
Yeah, leading the AM class category at the moment. Just in case you guys were wondering, the green little stripe next to the position represents their class, and the red is the AM there. So just to let you know. But yeah, like you say, his rival's not out there. So for the lead, I think there may be a little change. There was. I'm going to see if I can get that back on replay.
Yeah, he's got through somewhere. Another 28.5.
Evans slow though. Look, getting hounded. Sorry, Thomas was slow. Evans having a little look, and up the inside as well. Let's see if I can find out what happened. Yep.
Something has gone on there for sure. So let's have a look. It's cost Thomas Wangen 2 positions. Patrick Sokolowski gets the inside line here. Now, this is a really quick, almost half-blind entry in here. And Sokolowski, oh, and he just put Thomas Wangen off a little bit. He just had to back out of it and wiggle, thinking there was going to be contact. And that, of course, compromised his exit. And Joel Evans, well, the Welshman, he needs no second invitation and sticks it up the inside there to claim second spot. Oh, but Wangen's got back by again.
Oh, there you go. We didn't see it. Getting some reports of some drivers missing off the timing sheet. So I'll leave it with you for a second, Peter, while I just take a quick look at that.
Okie dokie. So, Patrick Sokolowski's got clean air. Can the Polish ace clear off at the front? We're 5 laps in of this 25-minute race, about a third distance. And we know that Patrick, once he gets into a groove, he is so strong. But remember, Thomas Wangen is the pole man. So let's see. But it's another 8/10 of a second slower than Sokolowski that time around. Interesting stuff here. Of course, Mid-Ohio has always had sports cars in mind. It was built in the early 1960s. Was the visionary Les Griebling who designed the circuit and persuaded local businesses to invest in the circuit. And this was a circuit that was very kind to the beautiful Porsche RS Spider, which won first and second place outright against the might of the LMP1 Audis, so actually won above its class. Such was the superior handling of that particular car. Now look at this. Sokolowski is already coming up on a little bit of lap traffic here, and really good job there with BMW moving over to allow the leaders through. Excellent respect. I think that was Jose Malbran. If so, well done. That's what we like to see. Good respect from all the drivers. But I want to see if Joel Evans has got the pace to get past Wangan and try and chase Sokolowski down, because I think he's got to be the danger man to catch Sokolowski.
He's looking dangerous.
Oh,
Although,
that's not Alex.
Trusty Sam Fitzpatrick arrives.
Oh,
yeah, out of nowhere. Yeah. Well, welcome to everyone. Nice to be here. But yeah, I'm impressed by Wangan, to be honest. Just watching the first few laps of this race, I mean, Wangan has been pretty quick so far this season, but Sokolowski and Evans, remember, finished in the top 2 in every of the last 4 races, and so the fact that Wangan is able to mix it with them, really impressive. So he's doing a fantastic job at the moment in second place, and of course to getting that pole position as well. He's just getting a good groove up this Mid-Ohio circuit.
As you're hearing the dulcet tones of our pit lane reporter, Sam Fitzpatrick, who has run over from the Lexington Mid-Ohio pit lane. And I have to say, that is impressive to get here in such time, Sam.
I was a sprinter in my young days. What can I say? You need to be quick in this business.
You do, especially with the puns as well. Quick in the legs as well.
Yeah, definitely. And also Belikov as well doing a brilliant job in this. I was thinking, could I come up with a pun there? But I wasn't. Yeah, Belikov doing a fantastic job. I did miss the first couple of laps. I mean, Christiansen running down in 7th place, qualifying on the front row of the grid. What was going on for? Or apologies, maybe that's just my my timing scheme, but currently in 7th place.
Yes, he got nerfed off by Joel Evans, as Alex spotted. Just caught napping a little bit off the restart, and Evans just got up the side of him and barged him off the track. Not intentionally, of course, just one of those racing incidents. But yeah, sent Christiansen off and then back into the track and made a little bit of contact with Mark Heron, who's still keeping up a good pace in second position right now. So yeah, it was certainly an eventful start of the race. Oh, Matthias Beer's off as well. Oh, very uncool. Oh, very not groovy at all for the German Austin Powers. That's his second moment he's had at that same corner. So not a good day for Matthias Beer so far.
Yeah, he's dropped down a couple more places. Splazzed up in 5th place a bit. It's a really good qualifying. A little bit of a mixed up qualifying compared to what we usually see. I mean, Matthias is a very strong driver, but in that BMW, that's a very impressive qualifying time for him. But yeah, just slipping back in this race. We also just had Christiansen getting past Velikov, although they're still passing Velikov with an issue. He's going very slowly on the inside of the course. So that can't be a slowdown. I don't know how you'd pick up a slowdown at that corner, unless he's maybe cut the circuit just before. But Christiansen crucially up into 6th place now. Newell, who of course got his first podium last time out at Oran Park in his home race. He's trying to come up the inside. That's not usually an overtaking spot. He'll have to go around the long way. But he just has to stay behind. His Porsche driver gets a big old hit from behind. He's very fortunate not to skate onto the grass. Despite making that hit, Velikov still fights in this one pretty hard. Just back out into 8th place. But that was all a little bit out of nowhere from the amateur driver.
Yes, Velikov, we know that he's not scared of a little bit of a scrap, and that's certainly proving to be the case. I have to say that move from Newell there, that was Christiansen had absolutely no intention of giving him the room there, and Newell thought, well, I'll just put it up on the grass, and then they, of course, eventually had to yield. But brilliant racing so far here at Mid-Ohio. I have to say, it's Sam, it's brilliant to come to circuits like this. As you know, I'm a massive fan of the IMSA WeatherTech Championship, and the championship made a visit there last weekend on Sunday, and it's one of these brilliant, just very classic North American circuits, and brilliant to come to circuits like this rather than the usual kind of menu of tracks, which, although very famous and very prestigious, sometimes maybe get a little bit repetitive. It's nice to come to these slightly alternative tracks to enjoy them.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, in one of the biggest refreshing things of the Aussie Mixed and Fixed Grand Prix GT series that we broadcast on a Sunday morning for Europeans and then evening for Australians, is they've followed the IMSA and the Le Mans series schedules for really their last 4 or 5 seasons, and now they've just basically gone to all the circuits that they've missed from over the years. So we've had some fantastic rounds at obscure circuits, and it's just nice to visit these kind of club circuits a lot more. They recently visited Alton Park and Donington, the first 2 rounds of the championship in GTE cars. So that's really good, and also too, credit to the Michelin series, official series calendar makers, because they've been able to come up with some very unique tracks as well, and got a nice mix between those established circuits and these more less known tracks, more club circuit venues. Wangen, if there was any doubt that he was falling away, I think those doubts have been quashed. He's right back onto it. He's caught up to Sokolowski, fastest lap, or his fastest lap of the race on that last time round, only a half a tenth slower than the fastest lap of the race. And all of a sudden, it seems like he's got the advantage over the Polish driver ahead. Problem is, now he's got to overtake, and that's easier said than done, but we have seen it quite a few times so far in this race.
We have. It must be something about the, the tenacious Scandinavian going to who it may concern. Maybe that's obviously what he's thinking. That's what he's thinking right now. As our producer just reaching for the mute button there. But don't worry, we're on the ball. We're on the ball tonight. But yeah, a Porsche 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 right now. Quite dominant for the Weissach manufacturer. And although we have seen a few bits of panel bashing, not too much, but. Sam, did you know that this car is the first ever production race car ever made to have body panels made from natural fiber composite materials? So it's a little bit more kinder to our planet Earth.
I did not know that. That's pretty cool, actually. To be fair, yes, and I guess Porsche really, investing in kind of new technology. Of course, they've been big in LMP1, of course, which has kind of been the most advanced series when it comes to green technology, when it comes to cars, and so, of course, very heavy in Formula E as well. So yeah, doing some good work there. Some other not so good work, but we won't go down that alley.
They were more a bystander to that, I guess, as well. But yes, we know what you're referring to there. But I tell you what, speaking of the LMP1 and the electronic technology that they developed there, apart from a GT3, I tell you what, the Porsche that I would love to drive the most right now is the Taycan. I'd love to have a go in the fastest Taycan, because apparently it is mind-bendingly fast.
I mean, the acceleration is just going to be mad, isn't it? So no, that'd be a lot of fun. Top 3 all matching each other on that last lap. Really, there's a good battle going on between Minor, Hubler, and Vergeas further down, which is another 3-way battle. And these guys have been very close from what I've seen. It's a little bit offline for one of the BMWs. Is that a back marker? No, that is Minor actually going a little bit wide. Hubler might be able to get past. He hasn't got the grunt down the straight, but he's got such a better exit that he's still got some overspeed, and he makes that one down the inside. Just in front of them, is that? I think that is a back marker, the 187 of Jose Mulgren, who is laps down, or 1 lap down at the moment. So he just got involved in those guys, and I think just held them up ever so slightly, and now also Vergeas trying to get past Minor, and I think he'll be able to get that one done. So not a good couple of corners for the American.
No, not at all. But we've seen Osim Brand doing a great job when the leaders came through. He made sure he gave loads of room, moved across, and let them get on with the battle, which is always nice to see. And not always a guarantee with cars that are a lap down. But goodness me, this race is going past quickly. We've only got just over 7 minutes to go in this one, this opening 25-minute race. Coming up after that, immediately after that, we will have the 40-minute feature race, which of course features a mandatory pit stop. And as we saw last time out at Oran Park, Sam, there can be some alternative strategies. And Thomas Wangen, he nearly made that very early pit stop work, just for one small incident, but he was charging at that point. So just shows that you can, you've got some real options available to you in the feature race.
Yeah, that mega early pit stop, because he collided with his teammate, didn't he? So he had to take the early pit stop, and like you said, it nearly works out for him. I'm surprised not more drivers do that. To be honest, I genuinely think when you do the percentages, I think that's the way to go pretty much all the time. Obviously, if everyone does it, then it doesn't work and actually you want to stay out. But at the moment, when so few drivers pit on the first couple of laps, just do it. Get some clean air. What's the worst that can happen? You know, you might lose a couple of seconds at most, but at least you avoid any big wreck in front of you. So, no, I'm always very surprised whenever drivers don't come into the pit straight away. We'll see if any of the front runners decide to roll the dice tonight. Heron catching up to Velikov. Apologies, this is Heron dropping back to Overstrom. I don't know, you had a horrible round last time out, did Overstrom. I don't know what got into him. Such a strong driver as Overstrom, but he seems to be back to his good form, and second place in the amateur category would be good to get his championship back on track.
It certainly would, yeah. That he will definitely be using Oran Park as his drop round, that's for sure. In the point standing, I think from my memory, he actually came into Oran Park as the joint championship leader. So yeah, not a good day at all for Pontus Overstrom 7 days ago. He's battling with his AM class championship contender Mark Heron, also in a BMW. Interestingly, in the AM class, the majority of the AM class choosing the BMW, and the majority of the Pro class choosing the Porsche. Interesting one there. Why that is, but there we go. At the moment, leader in the AM class is Mikhail Velikov in the Porsche Cayman. As you can see him just up the road there in the yellow and black machine, just coming round the keyhole, which is the hairpin bend that Heron and Overstrom are just about to go around, and then it's back on the power all the way down the straight towards turn 4, and hopefully not all the way through to a gravel trap which is affectionately known as China Beach.
Aha. I don't understand the reference there to
Neither do I.
China in particular, but
I don't know. I must try and find out, because I tell you who would know is our colleague Rob Howden would know, given he's raced at Mid-Ohio quite a bit, and also the voice of IndyCar Radio. So I imagine Rob would know why it's called China Beach.
Yeah, I think so. I'm just looking at the stats at the moment, the point situation in the amateur standings, and whilst Velikov is behind Tolman in the overall points, he's already ahead of him when it comes to the drop scores. So that's really good for Mikhail Velikov. But actually, Heron, Hubler, and Obstrom right in that. So keep an eye on Tolman, who unfortunately isn't here today, Velikov, and Heron, Hubler, and Overstrom for those amateur positions. It's really big. Also, it looks like Matthias Beer has been the only driver so far this season to finish in the top 10 in every single race. Well, that run is set to end unless he can escalate himself a few positions in this battle. Bad news for him is that Overstrom is quite a bit up the road, over 5 seconds ahead, but at least 11th he might be able to salvage.
Yeah, well, we know he's quick. He's not in the pro class for nothing. Of course, if you're wondering how the pro and AM class are decided and where a driver is entered to, it's based on iRating. Here in the iRacing.com simulator, it has an excellent grading system called an iRating, and basically every official race that you compete in, your result goes towards your iRating, a bit like a handicap in golf, I suppose. And so bad day, iRating goes down. Good day, iRating goes up, hopefully. And as Matthias Beer gets, dear, he's just got held up again in another incident. Oh, not his fault, but just in the wrong place at the wrong time there. But yes, Matthias Beer, with the reason we do that between pro and AM, we take the average of all the drivers, and then those in the upper half of that group go into pro, and the bottom half go to AMs. Let's see what happened here. Just a little nudge, and it just created a little bit of a kind of domino effect. Netcode as well. Oh no.
Yeah, it certainly looked like netcode to me. We have got drivers in that battle based in America. Ooh, Viges is off again, of course, based in Colombia, which isn't in Europe, it's in South America. So again, very far away. We're using the European servers, I believe, for this championship because we are mainly Euro-based. Ooh, that's a big way up at Evans from second place, or third place. I think he got up into second place, but not anymore.
Oh, so he's going to have a look up on Thomas Wangen here. He gives Wangan a really big nudge there, and oh no, Wangan just, I'm sure he got a little bit of help there from Evans. Now, does Evans back off to let Wangan come by? I think he might do. No, not yet anyway.
I think he has
Oh, he has
now at
now. Oh,
line.
well done.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's onto China Beach. Oh my word. It's a big gravel trap. That's maybe why. I mean, China is a big place. Geography hour with Sam Fitzpatrick and Peter Mackay here. Oh no, oh no, 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 no. Oh, I thought he was going to come into the path of Wangan again there.
So he didn't let the place go, he just
No,
made
he
his own
didn't.
mistake then.
Yeah, well,
Um,
if that was him letting him by, that is an incredibly noble way to hand over the position. Going, I will go right into the biggest gravel trap in America to make sure that you get past safely.
Well, that's not a very smart way to do it because the stewards afterwards will still give him the penalty if he addressed it himself. Then he may have been able to get away with that. By the way, geography hour would be brilliant. I can name every country in the world, which is purely for my pub quizzes. So that is my one skill. University, scrap that. Name every country in the world. Easy peasy. But yeah,
I can do it
Wangenbeck head
too,
down. Now
but I've got
Sokolowski
Google.
has got 9 seconds.
Wow,
Alex Simpson has Google, apparently.
oh, well, that's just cheating, though. That's not fair. Speaking of the unfair advantage, Sam, we were talking about this before the broadcast. In 1973, Roger Penske's driver Mark Donoghue won the Can-Am race here in a Porsche 91730, which had 1100 horsepower. Can you imagine that? As we
Yeah,
see,
absolutely unreal.
whew, as we see Patrick Sokolowski, well, he's had the unfair advantage today, and that has been his pace. He wins by an absolute stretch here in the opening feature race. So it's a return to the winner's circle for Patrick Sokolowski, and Thomas Wangan, the pole sitter. Here he comes. He comes through in second spot with Joel Evans in third.
Yeah, it could have been a bit more of a exciting finish to that race. Velikov holds on for the amateur win. Heron, no, did yeah, New Orleans seventh, and then Velikov. Yeah, Velikov was quite far clear, wasn't he? And then Heron holds off Ovechon, which will be big for the points there. Such a close championship. Every point counts right there. So that was good. Beer finishes outside the top 10 for the first time this season. As another Porsche circuit. So Beer struggling in the BMW and also had a spin, of course, as well, which wouldn't have helped. And Minor loses out to one of the other drivers, I think, in that one, right on the line. Maybe that was a back marker. Jose Mulbrian, perhaps involved in that one, as we are able to go through the results.
So let's have a little look at the results. Just waiting for our timing screen to reshuffle, and we shall be able to do that. Here it goes. Okay, so Patrick Sokolowski wins by 7.5 seconds from Thomas Wangan, with Joel Evans, championship leader, in third place. Chris Rear finished in fourth, with Mike Collard, his teammate, in fifth. Roger Christiansen, having started on the front row of the grid alongside his teammate Thomas Wangan, was pushed back in the early stages to sixth, but recovers nonetheless. Will Newell finished in seventh. Mihail Velikov was the AM class victor for Nayuka Factory, followed by Mark Heron and Pontus Overstrom. Greg Hubler finished in 11th, with Matthias Beer in 12th. Not good start to the day for the German Austin Powers. 13th was Jeff Miner, followed by Aaron Gibson, Jose Malbran, and finally Jorge Villegas. So our drivers are now going for just a quick rest before we begin our 40-minute feature race.
Yeah, and of course, yeah, 40 minutes going to be quite a bit longer for these drivers. Got to have a pit stop as well. That's absolutely mandatory. Even around this circuit, where you can save quite a bit of fuel quite easily. Still got to do the pit stop, and I'm waiting for someone to take the early pit stop. Surely, guys, come on! If you're one of the front runners from race one, going for the early pit stop, if you're wanging, it nearly worked last time. If it weren't for a mistake, it would have worked even better. Of course, really short pit lane as well we have around this circuit. So even if you do pit, there's a chance, I guess, that you could come out into a lot of traffic if you pit later on in the event. So Will be really interesting to see how this race 2 pans out.
It certainly will. That's for sure. And of course, if you come in at the beginning, you're going to need not an awful lot of time on pit lane as well. So let's see who decides to roll the dice. And as we mentioned early on in the broadcast, Sam, for the Porsches, clearly they've got the pace, but where they really press that advantage home is in the back part of the circuit. But in order for them to do that, they need the clear air, of course. If you've got a BMW parked on the apex, it's not going to be quite as easy for them. So it might be that we see some of the Porsches taking that choice, or maybe even the BMWs do it to try and upset the order a little bit. We saw, of course, I was watching the Apex Racing League GT Championship, the endurance round from Road Atlanta, and Daniel Lee, well, just pulled an absolute blinder, got involved in a lot of incidents early on, pitted as early as he possibly could, and then ran for nearly an hour on a full tank on a GTE car to win the race by a whisker from the championship leader, Tom McMahon. That was a real thriller and an alternative strategy that worked.
Definitely, and also big thanks to VRS for helping us out with this broadcast. I'm actually going to show you a little bit of a trailer for VRS presented by one of their driver coaches, David Williams, and he's just going to do a quick rundown of what VRS offers. So we're just going to show you that before we go live to race 2.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfalla.
And Ray Alfalla is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Sports car course as we are preparing for the 40-minute featured race with, of course, a partially inverted grid here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. So let's take a very quick look to see if you can see where your favorite driver is on the grid. You'll see where they start there. Mainly the thing to note, Thomas Wangen there in 9th, Sokolowski in 10th by virtue of their good performances in race 1. It's the 2 AM class contenders, Pontus Overström and Mark Heron, on the front row of the grid. But the pace car is about to pull away. We will be go for 40 minutes of racing here at Mid-Ohio. Green, green, green. Off we go then. It's a BMW off in the lead. Pontus Overström heads down towards turn 1 with Mark Heron right inside, and Mihail Velikov shoves it up the inside as he does. And oh, a little bit of a wobble there from the Porsche, and oh, we've got somebody off. It's another Porsche off, hard into the wall there. And Mark Heron there's somebody cutting the course over in the background, looking to come out the other side. And oh, is that Will Newell's been spun off in the Iridium, and Mihail Velikov's on his roof. Oh my word, this is absolute chaos. This is like an episode of Robot Wars.
That was an incredible roll there. It looked almost realistic. I've never seen an iRacing roll look that realistic, to be honest. For one of the Porsches, it was it was Heron who cut the corner absolutely massively, and so it's Ostrom still leading the way. Sokolowski up 8 places. Forget the early pit stop. You don't need to if you're already up into 2nd place. Beer up into 3rd position now. Mega start for him. He missed out on the reverse grid, but is still doing really well. Then Evans and some of the big losses out of that. Heron, of course, who cut the corner. Christiansen, quite a notable exception. Then Hubler is still going, but Velikov, Newell, and Ria all back to the pits, all towing back.
Certainly an eventful start to the race as we see Matthias Beer, Joel Evans looking up the inside of him, coming into the carousel, but the German shuts the door on Evans, and this is kind of what Matthias Beer needs to do. He's just got to try and hold the Porsche up in the twisty stuff and then open up the Munich Bullet on the back straight. So let's see what happened at the start here then. We know Mihail Velikov in the yellow and black Porsche. He does not mind getting his elbows out. So here we go, heading down into turn 1 in the replay here. Mark Heron, he's in the kind of slightly, he gets immediately in contact with Velikov. And is that what sends Heron off the circuit? It does. He gets onto the grass, gets into a tank slapper and fires over to the right. Chris Rea, well, his front is straight into the tire barrier, and then it's just absolute chaos ensues here where Will Newell gets turned around. There's one of the Team Vikings guys there, and Velikov gets turned around, and well, so much so that he's turned his Cayman into touring spec by removing the rear spoiler.
Yeah. That won't help you around mid-air high, and that was absolutely massive flip.
Oh, problem for Evans. Now someone's been listening to you, crew chief Sam Fitzpatrick, because Joel Evans there, he was stuck behind Matthias Beer in 4th spot, and he's taken that early pit stop. He's done the Fitzpatrick strategy.
I've got a term coined after me now, and it's a positive one, which is good. So Sokolowski could just cover this up. I think Sokolowski will be happy just to stay out in 2nd place. He'll pass Beer, past Overstrom quickly, even though Overstrom, of course, has got that strong straight line speed. I think Sokolowski's only a matter of time till he makes that. Usually very cautious, actually, is Patrick when it comes to overtaking, even though he has a lot of overtaking to do usually. He does take his time, but that has meant that he's finished some exceptional positions so far. I mean, when he didn't, but apart from when he retired from the lead with a disconnect in the first round of the season, he's finished in the top 2 in every race of the season since. 3 second places and 3 first places, as it looks like Sokolowski is already going to get past Overstrom. Was that a bit of a lift there from Overstrom? That was very generous there.
Well, it might have been. I would imagine Sokolowski would have the perfect exit. They're about 1.5 seconds apart on pace. So yeah, maybe Overstrom just thought, I'll just keep my clean air and keep lapping at the pace I'm comfortable with. Of course, Overstrom does not need to worry what Sokolowski's doing. Of course, they're not in the same class. They are in effect 2 different races going on at the same time. So sometimes it's wise just to not get in too much of a battle with people who aren't in your class, and you can even use them to a bit of your benefit. And at the moment, Matthias Beer has had a fantastic start. He's avoided all of the carnage, starting from outside the top 10. He's now at the 3rd, and who knows what the German Austin Powers can do. Well, hopefully he gets on the podium so we can interview him again and exchange quotes from said trilogy.
Yeah, of course, with the amateur drivers, they do still score points if they beat the pro drive, so the points are still done on overall positions. But you're right in terms of Sokolowski, that Ostrom's not going to beat Sokolowski today. Certainly on not on outright pace. You'll have to rely on Patrick having off, as it looks like Mark Heron, he's coming to the pits, and also Wangen as well. Wangen's properly off the circuit. Initially, Heron was coming off the circuit, but he just went into the pits, but Wangen has had an issue, and that is big for the championship. Wangen needed a big round to keep himself into championship contention, and despite having the pace today, hasn't had the consistency, and he's dropped to the outskirts of the top 10 now.
Yeah, it's just not been his season, has it? He's, as you say, he's definitely had front-running pace, but just not quite been able to execute in the races as he would have liked. But Matthias Beer set the fastest lap of the race that last time around, quicker than Sokolowski. So, what can Matthias Beer do? He was only a tenth quicker, but quicker nonetheless than Sokolowski. So, who knows what the BMW man, and could we see the first win for a BMW in the pro class? That would be cool.
I'm just upset that he's got his top 10 records ended. To be honest, he was the only guy to have a top 10 in every single race of the season, and now he's rather ordinary. Quite a few drivers: Evans, Sokolowski, Christiansen. Although Christiansen might be outside the top 10 twice now, and also Wangen and Pollard have all finished in the top 10 in all but one races. And Beer now joins them up to a 12th place in race 1. And of course, he was outside the reverse grid places as well, which was quite crucial. Joel Evans making his way up already. A pit stop. He's already ahead of Wangen, isn't he? That's how much time Wangen lost. It's a very short pit stop for these guys, 6 seconds. Clearly not a whole lot of fuel they need to take on in order to get to the end. Should really only be about 5 to 10 minutes worth of fuel, and you use so little fuel around this very slow speed circuit that they will not be stationary for too long. And Wangen's currently dropping down. In fact, he's already underway. So the pit lane's just mega short around this place.
He's just Wangen came into pits there just with big damage, but of course all of our drivers have access to one iRacing fast repair, which basically gives them an instant repair or a spare car, if you like. Just hop out Formula E style and into a new car that's refreshed, and that's what Wangen's done. So he's in 12th right now, but has his pit stop out the way and can just charge on from here, and let's see what he can do. But Matthias Beer just made a bit of a mistake there. He was a second slower last time around in the BMW, so wonder what happened. And he hasn't dropped Overstrom. He's right there as well.
Yeah, Overstrom, after struggling on kind of lap 2 to 4, he seemed to really be dropping back quick. That's his personal best lap of that on that last time, and he's been able to keep Pollard at arm's distance at the moment. Malgorzata Bayek Sokolowska has told us that it's Sokolowski and not Sokolowski, I believe. Apologies if we got that wrong again.
Yes,
but
sincerest apologies from myself.
Well, I think I've been getting it wrong this whole time as well. Sokolowski, I guess, is the way that we should pronounce it. And seeing that he's going for the championship and would not be far off the championship win at the moment, we ought to get used to it. Of course, Evans finishing in 3rd place in race 1. That would be about 10 points gained for Sokolowski. So if it ends like this, Sokolowski would lead the overall points, but he would still be trailing marginally when it comes to drop scores. And of course, the drop scores is probably the one to watch out for. Both of them had a poor Montreal round. Both had an instance, and Sokolowski, of course, lost big points after really should have got a double in that one. But ever since then, they have been absolutely dominant, finishing on the podium every single race ever since that first meeting. So Sokolowski and Joel Evans are certainly the ones to look out.
I might just call him Patrick from now on, just for safety. I've heard many iterations of my name as well, so I know the feeling. So apologies for that one. Matthias Beer, he has just steadied the ship slightly, a 128.9 last time around, but at the moment he's about 3 seconds back from Patrick in the Porsche, but much more of a balance between the Porsche and the BMWs in this feature race, which is interesting.
Yeah, I've just realised, by the way, the comment was referring to the timing screen, not the way that we were pronouncing it. So sorry for going on that tangent. It really led to nothing. That was just on the time screen, and Sokolowski's name is now correct. Greg Hubler it's currently under pressure from Christiansen. Both these guys have pitted, but you're right. Yeah, the BMW's doing much better in this race too. Perhaps just kind of probably fortunate, to be honest, in that second corner when we had all those wrecks. But the BMW, I believe, is a stronger car. One would expect it is, seeing that it's so much bigger. In real life, it would certainly be able to maybe deal a slightly bigger blow to the Porsches, but I'm not quite sure if that replicates itself over to iRacing, but certainly they did get through the better in the first lap. Hubler under pressure from Christensen, but they are catching up to Gibson very quickly, 2.5 seconds faster than Gibson on that last tour.
Now, Sam, would you like an incredibly tenuous link between the location of this weekend's Petit Le Mans at Road Atlanta and the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course?
Okie
Go on. So, in 1984, former owner of Road Atlanta Circuit, Randy Lanier, and notorious marijuana smuggler, him and his equally criminal teammate, Bill Whittington, who was also jailed for money laundering, they actually came a very close second in their March Chevrolet to Derek Bell and Al Holbert in a factory Porsche 962 in the IMSA Championship in 1984. Those were the days when IMSA was often referred to as, instead of the International Motorsports Association, it was often referred to as the International Marijuana Smuggling Association, because no less than 3 IMSA champions were convicted of said misdemeanor.
Aha, I had no idea the series had that history.
There you go. John Paul Sr. and his son John Paul Jr., notorious drug smugglers.
See, the only link I've got with, or the only knowledge I have of Mid-Ohio is I know Cleveland is in Ohio, and that's where they're hosting the presidential debate tonight. And as someone who's followed the 2020 election closely, I cannot wait. It is going to be Christmas. I'll have my popcorn out, and we'll absolutely love it. But Christensen looks as though he's going to get past Gibson anytime soon. He already got past Hubler, and this is just a matter of time for him. Get it done in the corners where the Porsche has the advantage. I might just have to wait till turn 1. This is looking pretty good.
Certainly is indeed. Christensen in 10th place right now, just getting held up a little bit behind Gibson. Aaron Gibson in the pink and white BMW M4. Canadian driver in the 225 machine. And Christensen, that BMW, if you can park it on the apex, you can really slow up the car behind and then just get back on the power. As you see Gibson there, that is quite graphic there, isn't it, Sam? Just how much power Gibson had just to get the power down of that BMW, and you can really stretch out. But the Porsche is so much stronger through the corners.
Because you missed last season as we're going to see a move. The biggest demonstration of that was Mosport last season, where we had some absolutely terrific kind of pro-level Porsche drivers, and they could not get past BMWs who were half a second slow. You can imagine Mosport, the only place you can overtake is back straight, and so the BMWs would just pull away. Even when you're in the draft, the BMW would just be able to pull away. As also, is that a move just behind for Wangen on Hubler? Yeah, Wangen up into 11th after making a pit stop. And also now, Christensen will be able to get past about time. And Wangen's caught up to these guys so quickly on that last lap. He was over 3 seconds faster than these guys. So he's come from absolutely nowhere, quickly catches up to them because they're caught behind Gibson. And he is up into the top 10 now, is Wangen. But you're right, yeah, if you can get it stopped on the apex, get a similar drive to your opponent, you're looking very strong down the straights. The straight line environment might be a little bit slower this season. I'm not quite sure, but still, the advantage is there.
So, at the moment, 10 laps down, nearly 15 minutes into this one. And I have to say, Sam, I get a little bit nervous now when I see the Team Vikings teammates of Christensen and Wangen, because they have collided with one another on more than one occasion. I think once at Montreal, of course, and last time out at Oran Park. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. But now that they're together, they can work together with one another, drafting down the straight and so on, and hopefully get themselves climbing up the order. But Joel Evans, he has also pitted. He's in 8th place, so he is very much in contention for the win of this race.
Yeah, Matthias needs to let him go here. It'd be much beneficial for Evans to get ahead. Evans's lap time's 29.74 on that last lap. That's a second slower than the race leader, so he's not going to have pace to win this race, Evans. I think after the first lap shunt and after Sokolowski's remarkable climb through the order, I think Evans kind of knew that. However, he can still get second place. He can still beat Beer. At the moment, if Beer came into the pits, I'm pretty sure the 1-2-2 car would be able to stay ahead But if Evans can put in some good lap times, still got a while to go, he might be able to overhaul him. And a second place here for Evans after the start that he had, I think would be a win from his for him.
Yeah, well, certainly the Fitzpatrick conundrum strategy not quite working yet for Joel Evans at the moment. He has to go round the outside of Villegas. Has he got it done? We're riding on board. He has, yes. So he can finally get going again. But I think that those couple of laps stuck behind Villegas there is that could be pivotal to Evans' victory charge.
Yeah, he's lost another second to Beer on that last, so he lost 1.5 seconds to Sokolowski. So I think in reality, he's probably 6 to 10 seconds behind Sokolowski right now and quite a bit behind Beer. But now he's just got to start lapping 0.3 of a second faster than Beer every lap to the end of the race. And he should be able to overhaul him. So it's fun to have these races where the drivers aren't necessarily on the same piece of circuit, but they are battling with each other just as hard as if they were. Of course, you mentioned the GT championship earlier on, Lee versus McMahon. That was pretty epic to see the gap coming down there. This is pretty much the same right now, providing that, of course, that Wangen can actually start, apologies, Evans can start taking time out of it, as the German's been extremely quick so far in this race too.
He has been good, yeah, in that clean air. Of course, he qualified 5th on the grid, so he does have pace. It's just getting the clean air to deploy it. He's not been so lucky in the kind of wheel-to-wheel combat, but here these two wonderful looking Team Vikings machines. Our resident cinematographer, Andy Groove Taylor, loves photographing these cars for the race reports, which you can read on our website, apexracingleague.com. And I can at least promise that the pictures look spectacular. That's for sure.
I hear the racing reports are quite good themselves, actually.
Ah.
I've heard good things, actually. I don't know who does them, but clearly quite talented. But yeah, check them out. But yeah, I have no idea who writes them.
Neither do I. It's some jock.
Yeah. With a weird accent, probably, aren't they? So,
As you say, well, now, this is interesting. Patrick Sokolowski coming up behind Mihail Velikov. Now, Velikov is lapped down in 14th place, but I get this impression that knowing how aggressive Velikov is, I don't see him rolling over, and that's fantastic. So Sokolowski flashes his lights and he just goes, yeah, I've got those as well. Yeah, I paid for that option on it as well. It's now, what is it about German manufactured cars, Sam? It's Audis, BMWs, and now Porsches just wearing out the headlight flasher switch.
Yeah, you should be using fuel there, guys. You need all the fuel that you can have. That is generous from Velikov. That is very generous from Velikov. He didn't have to do that, but he's not really fighting anyone at the moment. He will catch up to Gibson by the end of the race for Velikov. He's a couple of seconds a lap faster than Gibson. I'm sure if he'll get any higher than that, but Sokolowski will be relieved with that one, as you were saying. Velikov wouldn't let that one go easy. Of course, this isn't like Formula 1, where you get 3 blue flags and then you got to let the other driver pass, such as the turbulent air in that series. Of course, that's really critical that you do that, otherwise it would destroy the driver's tyres or just destroy their lap times. Of course, in these cars, they can quite easily catch up to the back of the other car without too much disturbance and then pass them themselves. So it's an obligation for the driver ahead to lift off as per any iRacing series, but it is custom to do so, as long as you're not in a last lap battle to the line.
Yes, it's shall we say, it's not cricket to impede someone who's coming through when you're a lap down. That's for sure. Not good form. But Velikov just felt like he was making a point there. I'm surprised he didn't flash him when he went past, though. I thought that was almost that would have almost been obligatory. Is he going to flash him again? No. We'll see. Of course, we see the lights being flashed in the Apex Racing League Touring Car Series. That's where, well, there's all sorts of jiggery pokery goes on there, as is the case with touring car racing, isn't there? It's of course, Ash Sutton, the British Touring Car Championship contender in the real world, races every Thursday in the ARLTC series, and apparently refers to it as his secret weapon, where he hones his racecraft, which is quite a boast for the drivers of that series.
Yeah, he I don't think he's best friends with many of the drivers in that series. He is aggressive. It's something, but I do some of the protests for that, and he doesn't come up very often. I think he annoys a lot of drivers because he's absolutely ruthless. And of course, when you got a pro driver like that, so also Thomas Wangen just going past Roger Christiansen, that's quite a good move there by Wang. Quite important up to 2 drivers who are pitted. But for these real life drivers, I think they kind of see these other series as you say, a training tool, and so it's not all at the end all if they do retire from a race if they don't win the championship. They are kind of just looking forward to the proper season. Of course, Ash was able to do, I believe, the entirety of last season for once, because he's always having to do these pesky real life races where he's apparently quite good. And that really interrupts his ARLTC season, but he managed to do all of last season, and he's always a driver who manages to challenge for race wins. And it just shows the competitiveness of the league that he is beaten on pace quite often, Sutton, but he's always been in the top 10.
He certainly is, yeah, and he can certainly see where he gets his aggression in real life touring car racing. I have to say he's not in my good books at the moment. I will be honest with you, Sam, because he punted off my my pal Rory Butcher in the second race on Sunday at Silverstone. But so he's not in the good books, but I'm sure I'll get over it.
Yes, yeah, he'll punt someone else off that you don't like, and then you'll be back.
Then he will be forgiven. Yes, I'll send him a list of people of redemption. So we're looking on screen right now at Greg Hubler in the 299 Porsche, who is leading the AM class, but only marginally. He has the Scotsman Mark Heron right behind him in the BMW M4 GT4, which actually is, believe it or not, has the same, of course, it's very closely related to the M4 road car, but the brakes on that car are lifted straight off the M6 GT3. So you could almost say that it's overbraked. Would that be the right description?
Thing like that, wouldn't it? That's a good one. But are the brakes in a GT3 necessarily any better? Surely GT3 cars are lighter, and so if anything, they don't need a strong brakes, or in fact, are the GT4s lighter themselves?
No, the GT4s are very, very close in weight to their road car their road car equivalents. For the Porsche, the GT4 MR Club Sport is only 100 kilograms lighter than the equivalent road car, which actually, I mean, the gearbox, of course, because it runs a PDK gearbox and the road car runs a manual, PDK is a bit heavier, but in general, yeah, only 100 kilograms lighter. I think the BMW, there's maybe a bit more of a difference between the weight, but of course the GT3 car has got quite a lot more power and therefore quicker. So I think there's a lot more demand on the brakes of that car. Weight-wise, I don't think there's much difference. Maybe a GT3 car a fraction lighter, but yeah, I would say that those brakes are they're certainly sufficient to slow that car down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll get the car slowed down quite a bit. I'm looking forward to rain, hopefully, when it arrives soon. iRacing, come on, we're on the Esports Network, calling you out. We want rain, but hopefully we'll see it next year. I'm hoping. I don't think we will. Probably wait another couple of years, guys, and I'll be happy if we do get it by 2023, frankly, because we've lasted. We've waited for, what, 12 years on iRacing. I can wait for 2 or 3 more.
Well, interesting. It is an interesting topic because, of course, there are other sims out there that do have the rain. But I listened to a fascinating podcast. One of my, I think, probably my favourite podcast, which is a podcast called Dinner with Racers, which is both incredibly informative and incredibly entertaining and funny as well. And they had David Kamer on the show, who, of course, is one of the head honchos at iRacing, and they were talking about that. And apparently one of the things which is a factor is that if you, obviously they've got incredibly high standards that they set for themselves of detail, and to have rain done to the standard that they want, it would mean that you'd have to have a super duper whooper gaming PC to run the service, whereas at the moment it can be run on, you still need a reasonable spec of machine, but not crazy. So I think that was part of the thinking, that they wanted the kind of technology to catch up before they could roll it out across the service.
Yeah, we know that they're working on it, but you're right, maybe just in terms of actually implementing it would have to wait a while. I mean, I got a pretty bog standard, or not even a standard, but maybe a low end now, I think now, gaming PC. Yeah, I want it to be able to run on that one. Hubler gets, apologies, Herring getting past Hubler. And Hubler has been, just as fast up the race actually did Hubler. So that mistake has come out of nowhere. And Herring was actually slower in that last lap. But he gifted him that position. We also had Pollard's, apologies, it was Christiansen getting past Vijagas, I believe, on that last lap, up into 8th position now. And Vijagas with a 32.5, which is quite slow. That's about 3 seconds slower what the fastest drivers are doing. I'm sure he'll be back onto the pace soon, albeit Jorge does still need to pit. So Evans top of the drivers who have pitted, and then Pollard has pitted, Wangen pitted, Christiansen pitted, and then Mulbern, Herren, and Hubler have also pitted at varying times, but it doesn't really matter when you come into the pits. You kind of want to stay out a little bit longer in terms of ultimate pace, just because you run a little bit less fuel. But these cars are pretty heavy anyway. They're not too weight sensitive, and so you can afford to run a bit longer, and you can afford to run with a bit more fuel and not lose too much time. And of course, these guys won't be running too much fuel, as it's not as long a race, and it's not these cars can go much further in a fuel tank than what we are setting them with the 40 minutes tonight. Vijagas actually keeping up with Christiansen at the moment. Where this lap time is going to be a lot better. I think he'll be back into the 30s at least, maybe even getting into the 29s. But will he come into the pits? No, he won't. He will have to, though, in the next kind of 6 or 7 minutes, because he should be running out of fuel by that time.
Yeah, it's interesting, the pace at the top. Sokolowski and Beer, although Sokolowski's kind of settled into a nice pace, their very best pace is incredibly close. Sokolowski has the fastest lap of the race with a 1:28.43, but Matthias Beer's quickest is a 1:28.49. So he's right there on the absolute optimum pace, but at the moment the gap sits at 10 seconds or so. So it's definitely Sokolowski's to lose, but this has been an impressive run from Matthias Beer.
Yeah, and I've been a little bit... Oh, as Beer comes into pit. So this is a big now. This is big because Beer's done some good laps. Will he be able to stay ahead? That was a 29.22 compared to Evans' 29.0. It'll be close. Evans coming up to the final couple of corners now. Looks as though Evans will have it at the moment, but of course, Beer won't be stationary for very long. No, it's a long pit stop for Beer. What's he doing? Is he taking a cup of tea? Is he going to the loo? I don't know, but he's stationary for absolute an age there. 15.83 seconds. And I think he was going to be behind anyway, but that is cost him bad. And now Pollard will move past him, and that is effectively third place gone for Matthias Beer.
Well, if anybody's seen the very first... or was it the first or the second Austin Powers, when they take him out of the cryogenically frozen capsule and then they let him go to the toilet? Maybe he went for the toilet Austin Powers style.
Perhaps. I've not seen the trilogy, to be honest, and I really do.
Velikov! Oh my goodness me! Velikov spins Aaron Gibson around, and Velikov's so aggressive there as well. Whew, that was sorry to cut you off there, Sam, but oh my word, that was aggressive.
Yeah, he just went straight to the back of him, didn't he? I just guess he didn't expect his rival to break. Beer hitting the apex there. I don't know what that extra long pit stop was. It wasn't a speeding penalty. A speeding penalty would be kind of 15 seconds. Maybe he took tyres, just an idea from Alex Simpson, but it must have only been a couple of tyres, because I think tyres would take longer than that amount. We'll see. I mean, maybe if he sets some absolutely insane lap times now, and manages to get into the 28s, then maybe that is the case. But it certainly wasn't the best decision. It's unfortunate as well because literally his pit stop time was about 9 seconds longer than it should have been, and he came out 9 seconds behind Evans. So it would have been so close for effective second place, but we were denied that battle.
Wow, it's interesting because I didn't see the jacks go up, which is always the indicator of tires going on. But yeah, interesting one there. I wonder we'll hopefully we'll get a chance to speak to Matthias after the race and ask what happened. Who knows? We'll see. Maybe he went to pour himself a pint.
I'd hope not. Well, maybe that's why he went to the
He's
apex after that paper.
he's on brand.
Yeah, I'd hope not. No offense, Matthias, but you need as much soberness as you possibly can to win these races. Maybe if you're Sokolowski at this point, maybe you can pour a pint, but I think everyone else needs to give it their all. As well, maybe he's about to here. Patrick Sokolowski is into the pits.
Okay, so let's see. Hopefully, Sokolowski doesn't have a similar blunder in pit lane, because that would be the difference. So let's have a look. Here he comes in the 190 Porsche. Big splash of VP Racing fuel for these Michelin Pilot Challenge. Oh God, he's away already. Goodness me, that was a quick pit stop there from Patrick Sokolowski. He's yeah, of course, only just needs a tiny splash to go, and well, he's made the anti-Fitzpatrick work quite well.
I think he's made the good start work quite. It was an insane start from Sokolowski. Gained 8 places in the first half lap, and then once you do that, it's pretty easy. I think he could have really done any strategy there. Sokolowski not taking a lot of fuel as well, which is surprising considering they had 13 seconds to play with. That is the gap to Evans at the moment. So I don't know. Maybe he's banking on one less lap to happen, because it's a decent amount less fuel than everyone else.
Yeah, who knows? He's certainly. I mean, he's like for like with Joel Evans is a different one. I mean, of course, Evans was in the pits a lot earlier, very very early. So Evans, of course, with longer to go, he'll have to be a little bit more, shall we say, cautious on the amount of fuel he loads in, because when you've got so long to the end of the race, you've got to be so much more. You've got to be putting in a little bit more of a margin. Whereas Sokolowski, with just sort of 8 or 9 minutes to run, he kind of knows exactly how much fuel he needs to put in. So that could be the difference, perhaps, Sam.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, leave a little bit to spare. In case I was concerned that you were going to go for the old thing of you would have to put more fuel in if you pitted early, but of course they all start on the same amount of fuel, so you all got to put the same amount of fuel in during the race. But you're absolutely right how Sokolowski is almost certain of how many laps there are to go. He is the race leader after all, so he knows what his pace is. You'll have most likely a fuel calculator app in the background, maybe SDK Gaming, which I hear is very good in that regard. And we'll know exactly how much fuel he puts into the end. But if he runs out of fuel in the last lap, then wow, what a finish that would be.
So, of course, as is often the case here in the GT4 category, many series here on iRacing run a fixed setup. But here in the Apex Racing Academy GT4 series, we take it at one step further, because all of the entrants to the championship here get access to the Apex Racing Academy setups and training as well. And all the setups that you see being used here for both the Porsche and the BMW are the same for all drivers, so they have an even playing field with their competitors. But also it's a setup that then they can take to compete in the Michelin Pilot Challenge here on iRacing and many other GT4 related series as well. And Sam, you've been sim racing for quite a long time. I've been a little bit shorter, but it's just night and day just how much of a difference a well set up car can make.
I mean, I would have been Gregor Hutsu 6-time champion by now if I had an Apex Racing Academy subscription, because the sets on that will definitely get you up to pace, and it's just nice rest of mind, you know, when you get into a session and you know you're not at a disadvantage because of your setup. I think when you are a second slower than your rival, the first thing that comes into mind, it's the setup. But when you get that fantastic Apex Racing Academy setup, which is designed by, you know, Peter Bayman, Kevin Ellis, Antoine Higuelin, all, world championship level drivers, all some of the best drivers on iRacing. You know that you need to improve your driving skill, and of course they also have evening sessions as well, where they host sessions. You can jump in and you can just chat with the coaches, and they can look at your driving lines, they can look at your driving style, and they can actually identify where you need to improve. You compare your lap times to your telemetry to their telemetry, and you can really break down how to improve as a driver. And I think all these guys have massively benefited from that. And it makes us a little bit more fun as well on the broadcast, because we know that everyone's equal, and it does make the whole field a lot more even than a few kind of big teams be able to have a big advantage over the privateers just because of their setup knowledge.
Absolutely, yeah. Because even on these GT4 machines, there's so much that you can adjust with suspension and damping and camber and towing and all these sorts of things, and that's just making me dizzy just thinking about it. So yes, subscribe to the Apex Racing Academy, or even better, join one of our series so you get the racing and you get the coaching and the setup as well. And of course, Sam, we've got a brand new Porsche Carrera Cup series coming up here in the Apex Racing League very soon.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Well, I mean, I love the FW31, the Williams 2009 car, but besides that, I think the Porsche Cup is probably my favourite car on the entire service. It is absolutely fantastic fun. I would recommend getting signed up soon. Go to apexracingleague.com to get signed up for that. The entries are going quick. We've got less than 10 remaining now on a 40-car field. So certainly do get yourself signed up if you like the Porsche Cup car. Go to apexracingleague.com, get yourself signed up to that one, and also just join our Discord as well. There'll be a link in there to our Discord channel, and then you can see all the announcements for our future series. We are planning on announcing a few series towards the end of the year. That is a car off the circuit, the 291. That is really dangerous, and you could kind of see that coming from a mile off. Aaron Gibson goes sliding into the wall, and now there's contact again. It's Mark Heron who I think initiated that first bit of contact.
Yeah.
I think he came together with Vijayas there.
Yeah, that was a bit of a brain fade there from Mark Heron. That was pretty unnecessary, you could say. And he just, I don't know what he's flashing his lights there for. Goes on the grass on the outside, tags the back of poor old Aaron Gibson, and fires her into the wall, and then gets clipped by Vijayas as well. I mean, that is pretty silly from Mark Heron there, I have to be honest.
Yeah, and Mark's an experienced driver as well. We've seen in other leagues, so he's usually a very safe driver. So that's very unusual to see from him. Of course, Gibson was a lap down, but it still isn't due to leave space in that circumstance. Overstrom, kind of under the radar, because he started from pole position. He missed all the chaos on lap 1. His pace has been good. He's stayed in the 30s. He's been able to keep Pollard behind him for a while. Beer had the shocking pit stop, which lost him 9 seconds. So Overstrom, the amateur driver, after having a horrendous Oran Park run. Imagine this a week ago. We could not imagine this a week ago. I mean, I don't think he spent the entire meeting in the top 12, and whenever he did, he'd then proceed to go spinning off the track. And look at him here, up in the top 3. We're nearly overtaken by Pollard there, and he's reaching that BMW grunt to keep Pollard behind him, who I believe is going for his first podium of the year. Yeah, Pollard with a 6th, a 13th, a 7th, an 8th, a 5th, and a 4th. He's come closest, Pollard, but he's looking for his first podium. Overstrom looking for his first podium as well. And just behind him, we got Matthias Beer, who's going for just his 2nd podium of the season.
Yeah, Beer's the danger man, and Pollard goes a little bit wide there, but you can square it off here at Mid-Ohio and get back on the gas there coming out of the carousel. And actually, Pollard, that late apex, he's going to come and have a look up the inside here. Oh, thinks better of it, just about. And Pontus Overstrom making that BMW M4 nice and wide. He'll hold the inside line here, going towards the keyhole. This should be the keyhole, I think, for the last time. Doing all he can to defend here, but Matthias Beer right back. Oh, dearie me, nearly crashes into the back of Pollard there. But Matthias Beer, he's not done for this podium. Make no mistake about that.
Now he will try to pick it off if he possibly can. He'll be infuriated with Beer. That third place was so easy. Heck, he could have even challenged Evans for second place, albeit I think he would have probably been second favourite in that one. And now they get into the second and third sectors of the lap. And dare I say, Overstrom has got a clear run now to the finish of the race. It would be mighty from Pollard in order to overtake.
So here he is then, Patrick Sokolowski, doing the double here at Mid-Ohio. And in doing so, taking the lead of the championship. Patrick Sokolowski wins for Carbon Esports Porsche with a quick lap time to finish there. And here comes Joel Evans. He tried to make the early pit stop strategy work. It's not quite worked out, but second place, good indeed. And it's going to go down to the wire for the championship between Patrick Sokolowski and Joel Evans. But here's Pontus Overstrom. He's kept them behind. Pontus Overstrom in the AM class drags to the line and wins in the AM class and an overall podium. What a recovery after such a horror show last week at Oran Park. Fantastic from the Swede.
And with a couple of other drivers missing from this meeting, surely, well, I mean one driver missing, it was the championship leader, as we have side by side between Vigeus and Hubler. Oh, what a battle this is into the final sector of the lap. Hubler with the better line, surely. I think there's a whole lot Jorge can do from here. He'll try to get the cutback. Now this will be strong to the line. The BMW, he's got nowhere to go. Let's go between the two of them. And Vigeus has got it. I did not think that was going to be possible, but Jorge Vigeus in the car number 7 finishes in 10th place, and I don't think they're too happy with one another after all that, but I enjoyed watching it.
That was a big move there from Jorge Vigeus. Very, very good indeed. But yeah, on the last corner, that's what you're going to see, and he takes the place. Interestingly, both in different classes there, just shows you that bragging rights are of equal importance. So here's your results then. Wow. Patrick Sokolowski winning by 15.3 seconds from Joel Evans. And a big, big props to Pontus Overstrom, the Swedish privateer, finishing in third place and top in the AM class and holding off pro class drivers Mike Pollard and Matthias Beer. Thomas Wangen finished in 6th with Roger Christensen in 7th, a day of what could have been for the Team Vikings crew. Jeff Miner finished in 8th and 2nd in the AM class with Jose Malbran, and Jorge Vigeus with that incredible move at the last corner to take the last spot of the top 10. 11th was Greg Hubler, followed by Mark Heron, Mihail Velikov, Chris Rear, Erin Gibson, and Will Newell. And what a day it has been here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. And we have our race winner, double race winner, Patrick Sokolowski, already waiting to join us here for interview. Patrick, welcome to the Apex Racing commentary box. That was an incredible performance today. Tell us all about it.
Hello. Yeah, thank you. And yeah, I just messed up the quali, so yeah, I had to do what basically had to be done. So I had to be more aggressive in the first race. Then I was doing second race at Oran Park. So yeah, that was a pretty good one for me. 0 mistakes, and yeah, start for race 2 was, quite messy at T2. So I just took the opportunity to, avoid that small pile up of cars, and then yeah, the rest was just fairly easy.
Just as easy as that. And of course, here at Mid-Ohio is a little bit more spread out than Oran Park last week, but it's still a little bit of twisty in the back sections there. How was your Porsche handling compared to the what the BMW drivers were doing through the back part of the circuit?
So I think I was losing a couple of times on the straights, but with Porsche, even with 10 kilo plus on the weight, it was fairly easy to keep up behind BMW in twisty sections, and then if when I had BMW on my back, it was also easy to defend the position there.
Fantastic stuff. Well, Patrick, as our double winner here in the Apex Racing Academy GT4 series, who would you like to shout out to live here on Apex Racing TV?
So I would like to say hi to my colleague from work, to Maciej, because he supposed to be watching this. So yeah, hi, and yeah, that's it.
So he knows you're not lying when you say you're a championship contender for this series. That's fantastic stuff. Patrick, well done on a brilliant double victory today, and we'll see you next time here in the Apex Racing GT4 series.
Very much. See you guys. Bye.
So next up, we have our AM class winner and comeback kid, Pontus Overstrom, who is with Sam Fitzpatrick.
Yes, third position for Pontus Overstrom. And Pontus, after a disappointing Oran Park round, you must be delighted that P3, your first podium in the series. Tell us all about it.
It was a great race from my part. I'm really proud of this one compared to the Oran Park.
Yeah.
But keeping Mike behind was a tough job in the last laps. But it went through, and P3, I'm happy with it.
Absolutely. Did you have any idea of what was going on behind you on the first lap? I mean, did you get any view of it in your mirror?
No, I saw a few of them stopped and the relative started to increase, but I knew it wouldn't last forever. So eventually they caught up again.
And then what was the thinking with the pit stop? You pitted on lap 21. You could have gone further. So what was kind of the thinking on that regard?
Yeah, I don't really know. I just thought I had to get it done sometime, and it got to be that lap.
And next up, finally, we get a BMW circuit. We get Daytona. It's got straights and everything. Considering that you got a podium today, you must be really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, I can outrun the Porsches on the straights and the curbs. It's pretty nice with the BMW as well.
I'm also looking at the Amateur Championship, and I think going into this round, you may have been in fifth. You are now the amateur leader by 9 points. 9 points ahead of Velikov, 12 points ahead of Tolman. I mean, you've been racing against these guys for a few weeks now. Would you identify maybe a main rival in that? Is there someone who you think is going to be particularly strong in the Amateur Championship?
For now on, I guess it will be Velikov. I saw Tolman wouldn't be competing in this one or the next race. So I have to keep Velikov behind if I want to have a shot at this championship.
Absolutely. Well, best of luck in that regard, Pontus. And is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Some friends and family watching.
Awesome. Very smart. Well done. We will chat with you hopefully next week again, Pontus.
Yeah,
See you
hopefully.
then.
Bye.
So Pontus Overstrom there with his first ever podium. Quite a few drivers now getting podiums so far this season. But yeah, I have just updated the points. And we've now got Evans with 332, Sokolowski with 326. And that is with the drop score. So really, they cannot afford a bad round to the end of the season. And every point counts. It's going to come down to the wire between those two.
And you know what? It's impossible to separate them. They've both had races where they've been the dominant pace setter, but almost in equal measure. I mean, we saw at the Charlotte Roval, Joel Evans was in another dimension, but here today at Mid Ohio, it's all been about Patrick Sokolowski. So I think Sam, we're in for a treat on the run into the end of the season here in the Apex Racing Academy GT4 series. But of course, due to the nature of the series and the drivers getting involved with the Apex Racing Academy, don't be surprised if we get a couple of drivers just making big steps in their performance towards the end. So you never know who could be featuring towards the end of the championship. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to bring this broadcast to you tonight of the Apex Racing Academy GT4 VRS Super Series. Don't forget to check out apexracing.com to find out all about our latest leagues and also the Apex Racing Academy. Thanks very much to Sam Fitzpatrick for his company in the commentary box this evening, and Alex Simpson for all the wonderful production, graphics, overlays, and a brief stint on commentary as well. But without further ado, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time here on Apex Racing TV.